There's a problem with Roth conversions. Hi, this is financial planner Sean Mullaney. Let's discuss. So, Roth conversions. People are very interested in Roth conversions. And one of the big problems that they solve for is the taxation of required minimum distribution during the retirement account holder's lifetime. But on this channel, we've dug deep. And what we find time after time after time is even at high balances, the taxation of RMDs tends to be very manageable and in many cases very light. But wait a minute, Sean, what about the next generation? Don't I need to do Roth conversions? Because when my adult children are going to inherit my traditional IRA, my traditional 401k, they are going to get slammed with taxes. They, generally speaking, have to take that money out of the traditional IRA, traditional 401k, over 10 years, and that compresses income and it goes on top of their other income. And so don't we have a problem? And don't I need to do Roth conversions to avoid that outcome? All right, well, let's peel that back. First of all, on a spreadsheet, is it very legitimate to say that there is a possibility, though certainly not a guarantee, that the next generation may pay taxes on inherited IRA distributions that are taxed that are higher as a statutory rate than the taxes that the owner pays, right? So maybe mom and dad have their traditional IRA, they're taking their RMDs. Maybe mom and dad pay 22% on the RMD, or they pay 24% or 22% on some of the RMD, 24% on some of the RMD. It might be, by the way, 12% on some of the RMD too. But okay, so on those last dollars, they're paying 24%. And if they did some Roth conversions, maybe we'd add that 24%. Okay, fine. But Junior might inherit the IRA, and Junior might be working or have other sources of income. And it's very possible that Junior could pay 32% federal income taxes because we have higher graduated tax rates on some of the inherited IRA distribution during the 10-year window. So on a spreadsheet, if we say mom and dad do a Roth conversion, they pay 24% or 22% tax. And then Junior, when he's going to take it, would pay 32%. But because mom and dad did the Roth conversion, the distribution is lower, and Junior avoids some or all of the 32% a bracket applying to his inherited IRA distributions. On a spreadsheet, it can work. You got to have the right profile, right? What if Junior's a teacher? What if Junior's already early retired, right? It's not always going to work, but there certainly are scenarios where intergenerationally, we can save the family 8%, 10% by doing Roth conversions on the IRA while it's in mom and dad's hands. Okay. But does that mean we need to do that? And spreadsheets are only one thing we consider when we do financial planning. The other thing is the profile. So what I mean by that is this. When mom and dad are living off their traditional IRA, traditional 401k, that's their retirement account. That's their investments over their working careers for their retirement and the growth thereon. Okay, so that's what it is to mom and dad. But to Junior, it's something very different. It is a financial windfall to Junior. Junior has his or her own W-2, his or her, could be a female, right? The adult children have their own W-2 jobs, their own sources of income, their own retirement accounts. When they inherit whatever's left of mom and dad's IRAs, that's a financial windfall. And those arguing that parents not enjoying a financial windfall need to pay additional tax to the IRS to benefit adult children who will enjoy a financial windfall are essentially saying that mom and dad should write checks as gifts to lottery winners. That's what we're doing. We have a financial windfall problem, right? Spreadsheets are great, but we can't use them as an excuse to defy common sense. Those not enjoying a financial windfall do not need to do financial planning and pay additional taxes to the IRS to benefit those who will enjoy a financial windfall. We would never say, hey, your best friend just won the lottery. They won $10 million. The polite thing to do is write them a congratulatory check for $20,000, right? We don't write checks to lottery winners. because of common sense, not because of a spreadsheet. And I think we have to step back and say, wait a minute, what's the need for mom and dad to do? And the need is to manage their own finances. I will say this, if mom and dad make a judgment that, hey, intergenerationally, we want to short the IRS 8 cents on the dollar, 10 cents on the dollar. So we're going to do Roth conversions, not because they help us, but because they will help Junior. And intergenerationally, as a family, we'll short the IRS 8 cents on the dollar, 10 cents on the dollar, whatever it might be. That's fine. But that's a value judgment. And one, it should only be done if mom and dad could truly afford to do it. But two, that's a fine judgment to make, and it's a fine tactic to take, but it's not necessary. Because when Junior inherits, even if he pays a higher tax rate, he's paying a higher tax rate on a windfall. And I will share one closing additional thought. You might say, well, wait a minute, Sean. Junior's not paying 32%. He's ne'er-do-well, right? Junior's got his own problems, and he needs the retirement account. I would come back to then say, well, wait a minute, the spreadsheet might not justify mom and dad doing the Roth conversion. If mom and dad are going to pay 22% or 24% on the Roth conversion, and Junior's only going to pay 12% on even a high IRA distribution, maybe 22% on some of it, because Junior hasn't done so well in life, well, that means the Roth conversion could be counterproductive. What you might do is use taxable assets or even some of the retirement account to pay the IRS a higher rate than Junior would have paid. And mom and dad, in that case, with the ne'er-do-well son, would be better off not doing Roth conversions based on the spreadsheet, right? We want Junior to get more and more money, understanding that he's probably going to be lighter taxed in that case if he's not so financially successful. So look, traditional versus Roth conversions. Can Roth conversions be beneficial? Yes. Are they necessary? Rarely, if ever. There's premium tax credit scenarios where I'd argue they pretty much are necessary, but even those are pretty rare. Again, so the distinction here on Roth conversions is, are they potentially beneficial? If the numbers are right, yes, potentially. Right? You got to run the numbers. But are they necessary? I, in most cases, just don't see it. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please mash that like button and subscribe to my channel. I will see you next time.